I'm Katherine Page. I'm the 9th and 10th grade Native Literature teacher at NACA, and it also is a pre-AP class, so I'm preparing them for their AP classes in 11th and 12th grade at NACA. I was born and raised here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went away for school. I lived in DC and New York, and I got the majority of my experience back there. And I always knew that I wanted to come back home and be a teacher here. And I'm also a poet and do my writing here and things like that. So based off of my experiences, and I was looking at different schools in the area, I saw NACA, and it was really appealing to me just because of its holistic approach. A lot of the schools that I worked for in the East Coast, there was a heavy drive with academics, but I feel like they forgot about the child's well-being. Their spiritual health, their emotional health, and those things were kind of left off. And when I saw that as part of NACA's mission, it was really appealing to me. So I actually enrolled in GNAC. So I got my student teaching experience in New Mexico at NACA, and then I just kind of filtered in that way through the GNAC program. Yeah, and I've been teaching here this is my 4th year now. Basically, literature classes cultivated with our students in mind. So the demographic that we're serving, so the Native communities around Albuquerque, in and around Albuquerque. And so what we do is we try to pick literature that is not only appropriate for their grade level, but also mirrors them culturally. And that's really important because most of the traditional canon that we see used in middle school and high school doesn't necessarily do that for anyone that's outside the mainstream culture, or anyone who's in a minority is not well represented in traditional canon. And so it's important that we try to provide that literature for our students so that they can see themselves in the world. And they can see their experience represented. I know for me, it wasn't until I was in college until I read a piece of literature where I was like, whoa, this is me! I see myself in this. And that was my junior year in college. And so I feel like that's a little bit too long to wait. And hopefully we can provide our students with that kind of experience and connection with literature earlier on. And hopefully that will cultivate a love of reading and writing and inspire some of that inside themselves. So we work on a lot of different skills, so reading, writing, obviously, but discussion is huge. So trying to give the students the tools they need to create and maintain and propel a discussion forward, thinking about a piece of literature, analyzing it. We basically want them to be secure in their voice and in their ideas surrounding a piece of literature, right? There's no one correct answer. It's being confident enough to articulate what you feel and what you think, and to back that up with some kind of evidence from the text. So we definitely do discussions. We also like to bring our students into the world of literature. So last year was a big year for us. We took some of the students to NALS, the Native Arts and Literature Symposium. So we had students who were presenting on a panel. So in front of very well-known people within Native literature community, authors, famous authors, and philosophical thinkers, and they were able to be on this panel and express their ideas to these people who are in the profession, and they had tons of great feedback. And so Miss Sprouse actually started that, or did that last year. We were really lucky to have the conference here at a local venue so we could get the kids to go to that. We also try to involve them in different conferences. We took them to the Returning the Gift conference, and so they were able to work with different writers and workshops, and also connect to professional Native writers. And I was able to connect with one of the authors we were reading that year. We were reading Night Sky Morning Star by Evelina Zuni Lucero. And I had seen her read when I was in undergrad, so a long time ago, and I reconnected with her, and then through her, she's at IAIA now. She invited a small group of our students to go to another workshop up in Santa Fe, so we were able to do that as well. And then she also came into our classroom and spoke about her work. You know, she's a professor and she runs the creative writing department over at IAIA, so it's nice to have that exposure and that connection. And she's from Isleta, so a lot of our students from Isleta had recognized her, but just didn't know that she was an author. So it's cool. Oh, this person who lives in my community is also this like famous author that I'm reading in class. So just connecting the dots for them, and also it just provides hopefully a platform where they can see themselves in that light. Like, this person from my community is connected to reading and writing in this way, and so that's available to me too. You know, I can access that. This year I brought in Tanea Winder. We were reading some of her poems from her book, Words Like Love, and she lives in Colorado, but she has a strong base here. She went to school here, so she came and she spoke with the students, and she was able to answer their questions about her poetry, and she talked to a few of them after. And she's actually gonna be, this is Eye of the Eagle, this is our literary magazine, and we have a contest every year. And last year, Evelina Zuni-Lucero, she judged the contest. And this year, Tanea Winder is gonna be judging the contest for the kids. And that was a really powerful piece for the students, because they have these outside writers reading their work. And so if they win this prize, it's not me picking my favorite student writer, you know, or teacher's pet. It's a real live writer that we've read in class, and who doesn't know them at all, you know, and choosing their work. So that's a very powerful experience for the students, knowing that they can become those voices. They can become Tanea Winder, they can become Evelina Zuni-Lucero, and to represent their own experiences and to know that their story is valid in whatever complicated, beautiful, mixed up way they exist, that experience is valid and it needs to be represented. It needs to be represented in literature, you know, so they can be that person for somebody when their book is opened. Oh my God, this is me. I remember when the founding Native literature teachers were talking to me, and they were saying how hard it was to find Native literature when they first started this school 11 years ago now. Like, it was very hard for them to find novels outside of Sherman Alexie, you know, and now we have so many more authors available to us, poets, fiction writers, nonfiction, and it's just going to continue to grow. And we would love to see our students, you know, continue that legacy and create their own, you know, and be a part of that, a Native canon, you know. And we're trying to provide opportunities for them to see themselves in that light. Well, I definitely want Eye of the Eagle to keep growing. Like, this is a very tiny issue last year, but we're so proud of it. It was hard work putting this together, and so we're growing this year. So we had 15 submissions last year, and this year we had 84. So that is a big growth for us. So I would love to see this continue to grow and to have students take more of the ownership of the process of what it looks like, what goes in it. And also, I love the direction that Native literature is going now, just in terms of the way we push students to connect literature to the outside world and encourage them to form their own thoughts and stand behind those. And I guess I would just want it to keep going in that direction. And my hope would be that students feel confident in their identity as Native scholars.